Intern and J. Stevens, watching documentaries so you don't have to. 104.7 The Cave.
I'm Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens. We're discussing gear. It's Dark Side of the Stream.
Is this, we were recording this whole time? Or are we talking about music
I don't
here?
know. I'll let Tyler decide if it was interesting enough, and if I said any curse words, please. Bleep them out.
Now that we're looking at Tyler's stash a little more, Tyler's looking more and more like. He's looking like Shane Gillis.
Dude, kind of does look like a little bit of a lighter version of Shane Gillis. Yeah.
A little smaller version of Shane Gillis.
A little younger, definitely no drinking beer. Because he don't have any of that on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to train this guy into a lean, mean fighting machine. He's still doing Is he still doing jiu-jitsu?
He still is. He's been slacking a little bit on his attendance, but he still comes.
At least once a week?
Yeah,
I do at least two times.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had.
What does the jiu-jitsu crew feel about his mustache?
They're cool with it. They all agree, though, that when I tell him he should shave the sides off, they all say that's a horrible idea. So
Good. I'm glad that they also agree with me and think that's stupid. Okay, now let's get into the subject. The documentary we watched this week on Dark Side of the Stream is called it's Amy Bradley, but her name is Amy Lynn Bradley, is missing. I feel like we should divvy this episode up into three parts. One, the story, kind of whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
Two, the theories. No, or
Theories.
One, the story. Two, what actually happened, like the breakdown.
Okay, sure.
And then three, the theories. And then four, review.
Okay.
Cool?
Sounds good.
So the story talks about a family from West Virginia. The husband and wife had won a contest at work to take the family on a cruise. It's a Caribbean cruise. Jay goes on these all the time. And as we've, I guess, figured out in these last few weeks of doing Dark Side of the Stream, since we've literally focused on cruises, it seems like
what's going on?
Every week, they're not a safe place to be. Because again, and they get this part home that when you go on a cruise, you sign a contract that says whatever happens on that cruise is not the responsibility of the cruise.
Nobody reads that
and
fine print.
Also, guess what? The security and all the things that you think are on and protect you, they're all hired by the cruise, so they're not accountable for anything. You pay $4, $5, $6, $10, $30, whatever $1,000, and at the end of the day, no one's got your back. And that was very obvious in this story of Amy Bradley. Her family gets on this cruise. They head to like the 7-day cruise, just basically down the Caribbean, back up out of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Beautiful.
And after the second or third day, she goes missing. Her brother partied with her to about 2 a.m.
Right.
They go back to the room. They're hanging out on the deck. He's like, I'm exhausted. He leaves.
She's out there on the balcony.
She's on the balcony smoking and laying there. But then her father sees her at what he thinks is about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, and then he wakes up around 6 and she's gone.
Yep.
Reports say that she had been partying at the disco with her brother, dancing with one of the musicians. This will be important later. And eyewitnesses on the boat, and this was very interesting because the timeline that they talk about here changes what the bass player's story was completely, because he says the last time, I danced with her, but that was it. I went back to my room. They can corroborate that he went back to his room, but the problem with those doors at the time was they don't actually check when you leave. They only check when you check in.
You stick your card in
so
to get in.
You could literally check in, leave immediately, and say, "No, I was in my room the whole time." No one could. You couldn't say anything against that. But there were 2 ladies that were on the deck, and they claim they saw them go up to the disco about 5:30 in the morning,
which was closed at the time.
Why were they going up there? And then they see him walk down the deck by himself later, coming from a different direction. Okay, so I also would like to get out there really quickly that the cruise director on this boat was a character. I did not. I mean, like I get where he's coming from. Like we got thousands of guests on this boat.
Yeah. They can't stop the party for.
But like he's acting like this isn't a human life. Like you're going to tell me like if I was on a boat, for example, and I had paid $3,000-$4,000, and we're about ready to disembark and go somewhere, and all of a sudden they come over, hey, we've got a missing person on the boat. We're going to hold off for a little bit while we figure out what's going on before we disembark. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I wouldn't either, but you know what? A lot of people are rude and inconsiderate, and they would have a problem with it.
But he was so damn cold. Like, he was like, move on.
bro.
People die.
Well,
It's what it's like. Okay, well, when something in your
just
life
happened.
dies and goes away, I can't wait to look you in the eye
It
and say
just
that
happened
to you.
on that 80s rock cruise. First night, Faster Pussycat performs. That night, him and his girlfriend get in an argument. She's drunk. She jumps over. Never seen again. That cruise had to keep on going. The shows had to keep going. Like nothing happened. You know, it's tough, man.
It's cold.
It's tough.
It's
dude.
really cold. Very cold.
Tough.
And when we come back, we'll talk more about the story, some of the sightings,
It's
and all that
mysterious,
stuff
yeah.
next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It's Dark Side of the Stream episode 241, discussing Amy Bradley is Missing on Netflix. Now, this was covered on Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, it seems like it was on a lot of shows.
America's Most
right?
Wanted.
Yeah.
When it was covered on
In the
America's
90s,
Most
right?
Wanted,
90s
yeah,
it
late
went
90s,
down?
98 is when this happened. After it was covered about a year after this went down on America's Most Wanted, a guy in Canada pops up and says, whoa, I saw that chick a couple weeks after she went missing.
Right.
And so he contacts authorities. His story was that he was down on this really non-known, like he basically made it sound like if you are in, what's the name of the island?
Caicos? Turks Caicos?
Curacao. You're on Curacao. The really only, this place that he was describing where they would dive at is very hard to get
Very
to.
secluded, yeah.
And it's literally like a local only place. He's like, if you saw 12 people there, you would be shocked.
Yeah.
And he said, one day I'm sitting there and I see this woman, Caucasian woman, inside two African-American men or island dudes, and she's walking with them, and all of a sudden she just takes off running and she runs right up to me. And in a southern voice basically tells me her name, and I could tell, she was American.
Yeah.
She had a southern accent. And then right as she's about to start talking, one of the dudes walks up and just stares at me. Doesn't say a word. And
Yeah.
he goes, I wouldn't have thought anything of it, but the way he acted
Sketchy.
was really sketchy. And oh, by the way, the guy that they think is a suspect, the bass player, he was there too.
Yeah. Weird.
So that's a crazy story.
The guy's name is Yellow, by the way.
Yellow,
The bass
yeah.
player.
So then the father and son go back to Curacao, and they hold a press conference because they're like, if she's here, we need to
wanna
just
find
bombard
her.
it.
Yeah.
And as he's leaving, a taxi cab driver comes up to him and says, she's not dead. She didn't jump off. We're not
Right.
going to find her in the ocean. She's here. I know she's here. Go to these places. So he contacts the local PD. The PD goes, you're not going there by yourself because
Right.
it's a bad
Sketchy
time.
areas,
Boom.
right.
So then they go, they start looking for her there. They don't really find anything, but he said that at one point he goes into a shack and he sees a thing of Tic Tacs that was on a bed. And he goes,
She
I
liked Tic Tacs.
think she was here.
Wow.
And then years later, a guy comes forward saying that he was enlisted at the time. The Navy had done a stop-off in Curacao for an evening, as sailors are known to do. He went off base and kind of went and did his own thing for a night.
Yeah,
and goes to a really seedy bar,
Sketchy
walks
bar.
in, and meets Amy Lee Bradley, who again tells him her name is Amy, that she's from West Virginia, and then they take her and they go away. He could have said something and possibly saved her life at that time, but then he waited because
He didn't want
was
to get in
2 years away from
trouble.
retirement.
Yeah,
he didn't want to take
be
a
in
cut and pay.
trouble.
But then he has that's the thing.
Uh-oh, here we go. We might have to go to commercial for Mike to process this part.
I don't ever want it to come across that I'm a perfect individual at all. I'm not.
Right.
I'm far from it.
You're not?
But I also admit, and I know who I am. I know what I am.
Yeah.
I know I'm passionate. I
And you
know
know you'll do the right- you'll do the right
You know
thing
I'm extremely
when it comes
honest
time to doing
about
the right thing.
the person that I am.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
I make a mistake,
Yeah.
I'll be the first to tell you.
Yep. Own up. Yep.
And I will be the first to fix it. I'm not going to sit here and let this guy sit here and say, oh, I wanted to do the right thing. Dude, you let it go 2 years until you got yours, and then you came out and said, oh, by the way, I saw her in a sex trafficking thing, and I didn't want to say anything because I was going to hurt my money. No, you're dirt. Sorry, bud. If you're watching this, you're a POS. And I don't know any other way to say that. You can't make it better by saying, I wanted to do the right thing. You didn't do the right thing, and now you're on camera admitting that for the world to see. And
I know,
I hope
right?
everyone feels that way. Please. Because if you did the right thing, the moment you left that place, you would have went back to base, said, CO, I screwed up. I went off base. I saw this situation, though, and to be honest with you, I think she's in a sex trafficking thing. If there's any way we can get this solved or get this to the local authorities, if it costs me money,
That's the right
at the
thing
end of
to
the
do.
day, it costs me money. I don't care.
But you did the right thing. Your conscience is clean.
Yeah. He doesn't have a conscience.
It was mysterious. How would she get off the boat without them knowing? That's
Okay,
the really part.
That's what we're going to talk
interesting.
about next in the theories, because there's a lot of them. And we'll be back,
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Stream, episode 241 on 104.7 The K. Mike, the intern, Jay Stevens, we're back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 241. Amy Bradley is missing on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, in the last break, Jay brought up a good point. How did she get off the boat? Well, there's a lot of theories here.
Yeah, I see. I feel like
You want to give me what? You don't go to
mean,
your theory. Let's go through the theories first.
The one theory is that she fell overboard,
She fell overboard.
which seems to be the most plausible explanation for
However,
her getting out of the
every
room.
guy from Curaçao says this, and I believe him based on seeing, because they show the map of the current.
Right?
It's a small island. That current is hardcore.
Yeah.
They all agree that if she had fallen off or jumped off, the suicide theory, which would be another theory, that her body or remnants of her would have washed up. They all know that because they've all been on that
Yeah.
island, and they was so damn close to port when this happened.
Yeah.
Another theory is that she was heard saying, "I'm a good swimmer. I think I might just jump off the boat and swim in."
I think that one's a little crazy.
Dude, when you're looking at high up, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't survive the fall.
and
honestly.
it's still dark outside. Like
no, it was still kind of it was still
was
kind
it
of light because
at-
it was
at
about 6 in the
5:30?
morning.
that's a sketchy move.
Again, you're so high up, dude. You're jumping off 20,
Yeah.
30
No,
flights.
yeah,
like
you don't.
it's not. Even the most trained diver probably wouldn't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that.
So again, that theory is debunked. I don't think that she did that.
Because,
Now,
well, my concern, the reason I'm thinking that it had to be something going this side rather than out the door of the room, when your balcony door is open and you're cooking on a cruise ship, if you open that door while the balcony door is open, it's like the craziest wind tunnel
Well, yeah, 'cause you're on a
known to
ship.
man.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to shut the balcony door before you open the door.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess when the dad woke up, the balcony door was still cracked open or whatever, and she wasn't there. So it's
I don't
man.
think anyone came into the room because they have to act back.
No. It would have been her leaving, but I just think that would have been tough,
now,
man.
Why did she leave? Well, there is a theory that because when she met with the soldier in 2001, she told him that she owed these guys $200 for drugs, and they wouldn't let her go until she paid.
That seems a little weird.
That part of the story is weird,
Yeah.
but however, going through some of my personal stories, which I'm definitely not going to tell this one here, getting drugs in a third world country is probably one of the most dangerous things that you can possibly do if you're out of country.
Yeah.
It is. It is the dumbest thing that you can possibly do. If I didn't get the feeling, she drank and she smoked. We don't know, because it's one of those things where if you die, do you think everyone's just going to be like, oh, he was a womanizer, he's this and this and that?
If I die?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen. You don't speak ill of the dead kind of thing, right?
Right.
From like her friends are talking about how she could throw down, so it would lead me to believe that it is plausible
That she liked to
that
party.
she liked to party. Her parents didn't know that she was gay until she was in college, and you could tell how much that messed her up. She didn't
Yeah.
want them to know,
Yeah.
because again, according to her dad, that wasn't the plan we had for her. Hey, parents,
Yeah,
guess what? I'm
wow,
gonna tell you, I'm gonna
dude,
clue you
yeah.
in on something real quick.
That's-
Good parents, you don't plan for your children. You support them, you teach them, and you give them the tools to succeed.
Yeah.
They have their own plan. Okay, let's get that straight.
Yeah, so
you
there
don't
was-
plan for them.
There was probably a disconnect there. The disconnect
If
with
you're
her
in
family and her.
Kurosawa
Yeah.
and you're partying with this bass player guy,
Yellow.
and you go, hey, I kind of want to keep this party going,
Yeah,
and he
man.
goes, hey, we're
Oh,
getting
I
ready to
got
get
you.
off this island. I know plenty of guys in here that can get you whatever it is, whether it be cocaina or ecstasy or whatever. Could be anything. She goes, hell yeah. And he goes, okay, well, right before we disembark, come meet me, and I'll meet you, and we'll walk off and do our thing. You get back to the boat before your parents even know you were gone. Gets off the boat, Things go south.
Well-
she gets pulled into sex trafficking or tries to rip them off. Whatever happens. So
Yeah.
that's a plausible theory based on what the soldier says.
The getting off the boat part, they have records of you. Even back then,
Not if
they have
she was
records of
small
you.
enough to fit into a suitcase, which, by the way, years later, Yellow's daughter calls the family of Amy Bradley and says,
Yeah,
"I've got some
this
information."
Was weird. This was weird.
What's the
This is the real
information?
wild
Well,
part.
after this thing happened, he came home with a suitcase full of photos
Yeah.
of all the passengers
Girls.
on the boat.
Yeah.
And also, while
own
the Brad
daughter
family
read
was
them out.
on the boat,
Yeah.
someone purchased the photos that they had
Or,
gotten done,
or just grabbed them. Yeah.
or grabbed them,
Yeah.
and they were gone.
Yeah. Interesting.
Why did he have a suitcase? She could have fit into a suitcase. There goes your getting off the boat theory.
Well, I don't know, man.
They're checking every suitcase that goes off the boat.
They X-ray. I know the passengers' bags. They do. I mean,
Not crew.
I don't know if they X-ray the crew bags
No
or
way.
not too. I don't know.
And according
I
to
would
the
think
and
'cause of
according to the crew
drugs.
director, this guy was awesome.
Well,
Never had a
yeah,
problem with
but
him.
with the drugs and stuff that smuggling, I would think they would X-ray everyone's bags. Crew too, coming in and out. I would think so.
You would think.
I would think so.
You would
but
think.
you never know.
But you also would think
Never
that
know.
an entire cruise ship would have a contingency plan for toilet failures and power
Yeah, you're right.
failures
See?
and all kinds of stuff
Mike's
instead of
poking
letting them
holes
just
left and
float on a
right.
giant $1 million porta potty.
Let's come
you
back
would think
with
that they'd have a
let's come
contingency
back with
plan
our
for that.
reviews.
But that was only 5-10 years ago. This was
Yeah.
almost 30 years ago. You see
Man.
my point?
Yeah, man.
Again,
Very mysterious.
it's easy to say, oh, he was a good dude, because then you don't have any responsibility
Yeah, yeah.
to say, well, actually, we kind of, it's easier for cruise director guy to say, I don't have any problem with it. That guy, dude, if I ever
Yeah,
saw that
very
dude,
odd,
I'd throw
yeah.
punch him hard. So, again, or inevitably, she was attacked by this guy, something happened, and they took her in. Well, then years later, a photo surfaces on a prostitution website out of one of those islands, and guess
Sure
who?
looked like her,
Sure,
right? It
damn
sure
sure,
did look like
got
her.
me convinced that was her
yeah,
too.
I did too.
Here's my theory, and this is, I think the drug thing could have possibly happened and led to this. Whatever happened, it could be multiple things. She got into drugs or wanted to go score to keep partying or whatever, or this guy attacked her, drugged her, put her in a suitcase, took her off. In the sex trafficking situation, which based off of that photo that comes out, it's
Right.
pretty damn likely.
It looks pretty likely.
She gets pregnant immediately.
Yeah.
Within 9 months of this happening.
That's what it sounded like too.
Has a
kind of.
baby.
Yeah.
Because years later, a woman in a women's bathroom hears a conversation with a woman who tells her that she's Amy from West Virginia,
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
being
That was
walked
really-
around by another very large
that
individual.
was really sketchy too, man.
And she asked if I can see the children.
Yeah.
Again, I think either A, she got pregnant and then they were like, we've got your kids.
really hooked her in deep there.
They hooked her there, or they brought her in, and her being her sees these children being groomed, and she feels like she can help them, but now she has to sacrifice her
Gosh,
entire
yeah.
world. There was also, again, the suicide theory, and they brought in her girlfriend of her childhood for that story. Was so
Yeah.
that was a rough
It's a
story,
very- I
because
mean-
I get from her perspective, they had just gone through this thing, they had kind of reconnected,
Yeah.
they were planning on meeting. So the suicide theory to me doesn't play out.
Yeah, I don't think there was the suicide. It's just it's a very mysterious. Really, the whole story is pretty incredible.
The craziest thing about this entire story is that a guy from Australia started a website called amyismissing.com. And after a little while, the guy from Canada who made this, he seems like he's teamed up with
Right.
the family to kind of help.
And
because I feel like he's actually being a good human
Yeah,
being. He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel guilty. He had no idea what was going on, and I guarantee you see stuff like that. You do see stuff like this all
And
the
so
time.
yeah, he's watching where people are coming to this website
He
from,
uses-
man.
You always jump the gun.
Man.
He uses, because you got to explain it, because you got to lead them there, because someone's like, what do you mean? How do they track them? When you go to the guy who has the Amy Bradley website has a document and is able to track any IP that visits that website, whether it's from Jay Stevens' house, my house, Tyler's house, anywhere in the world. They have a registered IP address, and when you go to visit a site, whether it's an adult one or not, they
can tell where you're at.
They keep a log of who all visited this site. That's just the way it's done. Well, a smart guy from Canada goes, you know what? Maybe we should look at these and do, because he's a data guy. That's
Yeah.
so smart.
Let's look at the data.
Well, they found out that every holiday and every birthday, Someone is going to that website and staying on pictures for up to 45 minutes, which would go back to believe that she's alive and or has kids there on that island.
Yeah.
And is doing everything she can to safeguard and protect them, and is showing them on Thanksgiving or Christmas or birthdays, this is your grandma, this is your grandfather, this is your uncle, these are your family.
Do you think just this break has been really long? We probably need to get to the next break. Let's go to the next final break and then we'll summary.
We're back. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. We're back. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 241. Amy Bradley is missing.
Now, do you think with this documentary, and it's obviously going to be super popular on Netflix, do you think that's going to put a whole lot more eyes on this whole situation?
Well, see, that's the thing.
Because I went to the website. Amy, the missing website.
Every FBI agent said the same thing. Jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And I think in like 2015-ish, they found a jawbone. Around the time that Natalie chick went missing down there,
yes,
they found a jawbone. They tested it for Natalie's DNA, didn't match, and then the authorities said, nah, we're not going to mess with it. A Caucasian jawbone. It's of someone that has gone. And there's so many missing cases down there. So it's. I think the government on those islands look at it as, we can't find this out, because if we find this out, then it's going to make us look like we are
bad for tourism.
Capable of doing this, which makes the tourism go down, which makes our money go down, which makes it all bad.
I just feel like
we just ignore it, it doesn't happen very
after
often.
watching this, I feel like everybody that's now on cruises going through that port there is going to be like keeping an eye.
I hope
you
so.
know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it.
I hope they blast it.
Something might come out.
I
of
hope
this,
she is found, and I hope.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what she's gone through for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Especially if she's had kids in this situation, or has been trying to protect them.
Yeah, you know.
But again, if it's a sex trafficking thing, she'd be mid-50s. She'd be your age. You think she's outlived her usefulness at this point?
Well, I would think so.
Or is she something else? You know what I mean? It's like there's so many unknowns.
Know,
it's like the girlfriend said, all the questions lead to more lead to more questions.
That's what I said.
Lead to more possibilities.
This thing, the whole thing is so
emptiness.
Mysterious. It's very,
especially because of all the sightings.
Yeah.
And the IP address tracking.
Yeah, man, it's
that
wild.
That part of it was
wild.
like, when they got to that part of it, my hair stood up, because I for two reasons, I was like, someone that knows about this, it was either involved and is remembering as a trophy, or in a direct line to them, like, this was my mother, she's dead now, and now I'm in sex trafficking, and that was my mom, and this is her family. That literally could happen.
It's pretty crazy.
Keep in mind that sex trafficking in this country and across the world is extremely rampant, and it still happens every day. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you're an independent. Rich people feel like they are above the law and they can get away from this injustice. So all I want to say is this: it's still happening all the time. And if you see something, say something. Because how would you feel if this was your daughter, your son, your wife, your husband, your parents, your uncle, your aunt, Magic Tyler, whatever it is? Eventually something could happen to you, and how would you be sitting there, Mr. Cruise Director, you're like, it wasn't a big deal, until your kid gets kidnapped and thrown into a sex slave situation.
Yeah.
Now it's a problem, right? Because it affects you. Well, guess what? To me, if it's a human being, it affects me. Because we're all human beings. And we should do the best that we possibly can to protect each other, especially our children. So say something. Don't be too scared. And if you die trying to protect someone, what better death could you ask for?
Honorable.
I don't want to die in a bed on a breathing machine. Yeah. I don't want to die in some stupid accident where I trip and slip and fall in my shower. But if I could die saving a life,
oh yeah,
all day, without question. Without question. So it's a horrible story. I can't even imagine what this woman has gone through. I can't imagine what her family's gone through. You can see her brother has not moved on at all.
Not at all. Yeah, yeah.
What kind of life? They've been dead since 1998.
Yep.
Just like she's been missing.
Yep.
It's horrible.
What would you rate the documentary?
The top 5. And I hope to God she's found.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a ground somewhere or she's been in this, but they need closure.
I think this documentary will shed a lot of light on it. I think it put a lot of eyes on it, man. You know.
But don't be chicken. Do something. Say something.
So next week we will watch another train wreck episode.
Yes, I'll do Trainwreck series. You
It's
gotta
so
be on
good,
it.
right? It's
the
so
best.
good. It's on Netflix. This one sounds like the greatest house party of all time. It's the true story that inspired the movie Project X, where the kid.
Oh, where they took the house and they just like sold. Yeah,
In
yeah.
the little teaser thing, it says a guy threw a house party and like 200,000 people showed up. Bro,
You ever have house parties like that?
not like that.
I mean,
Tyler, you throwing a party this weekend?
Tyler, you ever had cost breakup party for you? No. Oh,
All right, we're gonna go see this party.
I can't wait to relive my youth.
Trainwreck.
As always, we do this on Thursday, 9 a.m. Or 6 p.m. during his show.
Yeah.
9 a.m. on Facebook Live or YouTube, and you can always download it as a podcast for free on our 104.7 The Cave app. I'm Mike the Intern.
I'm
That's
Jay
Jay Stevens
Stevens.
reminding you.
We watch
movies
documentaries so you don't have to.
Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.